We're going to do the next film, or the next teaching, is on a heart of stone. This teaching is an Elijah House teaching. I don't know if you've ever heard of Elijah House or not. Elijah House is a prayer counseling school and ministry that Lord and I went to receive a lot of the teachings that we've got. So I'm going to teach their teaching and add a little bit to it. You know, the Lord just kind of magnifies things and gives you a revelation to add to it. And the scripture that they used is Ezekiel 11:19. I will give them an undivided heart and put a new spirit in them. I will remove from them their heart of stone and give them a heart of flesh. And Ezekiel 36:26. I will give you a new heart and put a new spirit in you. I will remove from you your heart of stone and give you a heart of flesh. It's basically the same thing, but they said it in two different places. Now, what is a heart of stone? A heart of stone is a heart that's opened itself up and got really, really hurt when it did. Okay? So a heart of stone is a heart that it wants love, but it's afraid to love. Okay? Because of past hurts and wounds in life, we may set up a self-protective mechanism to make sure that we never ever hurt that way again. This is typical with first loves, where one suffers a broken heart by another. And each one of us, everybody in here, and everybody in the world, has a heart of stone to some degree. And it's all determined by how bad your heart was hurt by that relationship. Fear is what motivates a heart of stone. Fear of ever being hurt that way again. Now, here's how you know if a person has a heart of stone, a good indication, okay? A person with a heart of stone will have a history of growing close to another in a relationship, opening up to you, and about the time that you feel that you are very close to that person, they're going to pick a fight with you. They will make a big deal out of a little thing that make no sense to you whatsoever. You may find that just after an evening of the two of you, where you've been together and you've talked about a future, and you've had this romantic evening, and where you've opened your hearts up to each other, and you've had these nice kisses and the hugs, and you're saying, wow, we need to take this to the next level. And the next day, that person turns into the Tasmanian devil. And they've called you, and they're finding fault with you, and they're angry with you, and it doesn't make any sense to you whatsoever. And then you work through that. And you're working back to where you were before that happened. And then you have another nice evening and romantic, and you're talking about the future again, and the next day, kaboom! You say, what is going on? This makes no sense. Every time that we get intimate and when we're talking about this future, you get mad at me. You start finding fault with me. Or it could be you that's doing it. That's the heart's way of protecting itself. Because it's kind of like the heart is opening. The heart opened many years ago, wide open. And it got hurt really, really bad. And so now you're in a relationship. And in any relationship, you know, your heart begins to open a little. And a little bit more. You know, you got that friend thing going on. You love that person as a friend. And then you start dating them, and the heart opens a little bit more. And you start talking about a future together. And your heart goes, oh, we're not safe anymore. If we stay where we're at or open anymore, it might happen again. And this is all done at the subconscious level. Now we're afraid of being hurt. Or that person that you're in a relationship with is afraid of being hurt. And so the only way to justify this is to find fault with you so they can close their heart, or you're finding fault with them so you can close your heart. And so now you start looking for defects and thinking about things that's wrong with them and what they said and how they said it. You know, you said that because you're picking a fight. You're wanting that person to fight with you. You're picking a fight with them so that you can justify closing your heart back and being safe again. Whew, I'm safe. So you're afraid, or that person is afraid, of the very thing that you want. Intimacy. To be loved. You're afraid of love. We got an amen back there.
I'm like that.
You're like that. Okay. You might want to work with the counselor on that since you're coming to counseling. Okay? Make sure that you tell them that you heard this teaching tonight. And you need to work through that. And we all are to some degree. To some degree, all of us have a fear. Okay? But the ones who have that greatest fear, the ones that were really, really hurt bad, that's the ones that's going to turn into the Tasmanian devil. Okay? All right. There'll be a repeated pattern of becoming close, fighting, making up, becoming close again, fighting, and it on and on and on, and you just can't seem to get past that one point. You can't get to the next level because of all the fights that keep occurring. But the fights are necessary for you to feel safe. You see? You're protecting yourself. It probably won't go to the next level. But it will make it go to the next person because somebody's going to get tired, aren't they? I've had enough of this. We can't get it to the next level. You're always finding fault. You're always fighting about the silliest things that doesn't make any sense. So then it gets transferred to the next person. And then the next person. And then the next person. Now, how do you work through this? What caused their pain is they were loved imperfectly. It could be by mom. It could be by dad. It could be their first little boyfriend or little girlfriend. It doesn't have to be a grown-up hurt, a grown-up pain, but it could be. And it usually does come from the first love, puppy love. Okay? Comes back there. That's usually where it starts. When they really opened their heart up. You know, what if fear of love at all? And somebody stomped on it. Well, it's recorded inside of you now, isn't it? How to feel when you've opened your heart up all the way. Feel like you're going to get hurt really, really bad. So, how do you work through this? How do you help someone who has a fear of love? If you understand this, and as I'm teaching this, I know each one of you is going, I know somebody, I know. Oh, that's me. Because it could be you. And it is you to a certain extent. It really is. All of us, okay? So how do you get past this? If you know someone that you're in a relationship with that has a heart of stone, the only way to help them, because they were loved imperfectly, is to love them perfectly in the present. To overcome the fear of the hurt and pain in the past. When they start finding those defects in you and trying to get you to fight, you don't engage. Remember the other teachings where I said, come into an agreement quickly with your accuser? Agree with them. You know what? You're right. I did do that, and I'm sorry. Will you forgive me? That doesn't turn into an argument, does it? Well, they're going to find another defect. Yep, you're right. You always agree with your accuser. So it doesn't go to the next level of a fight. Because if you can keep them from fighting with you, their heart can stay open. You can't justify closing it, you see? So you take the responsibility. I'm sorry that I said it that way, and it caused you to be angry with me. I'm sorry I did it that way. I'm going to try not to do that anymore. Don't let them justify shutting down on you. You see? Love them perfectly in the present, where they were loved imperfectly in the past. Also, if you know of counseling that understands these things, like this ministry, you want to get them into the counseling. Can we, don't tell them you need to go, can we go? Yeah. You need to go to counseling. Well, if you're involved with them, you need to go with them. We got a problem. Don't tell them they got a problem. We got a problem. Let's go to counseling and see if we can get this resolved. You know, that's like telling somebody, you need to forgive. Well, it's kind of like they're defective and they got an issue. Now, keep in mind that this may be very difficult for you to do because they're looking for defects in you to justify closing their heart. And if you haven't been to counseling, what's going to happen when you're falsely accused? They start magnifying these defects in you. You're probably going to get, and you said the word, triggered yourself. And when you get triggered, guess what you're going to do? You can't love them through it. Now you're shutting down. Now you're getting angry. Okay? You're not going to be able to do it. So if you need also to come and get the counseling to resolve the emotional triggers within you that's keeping you from being able to love them through it. A person with a heart of stone may be very insecure and very jealous of the relationship because they were hurt before. You see, someone cheated on them before. Someone went off with somebody else before. Someone broke their heart before. So they may be very, very insecure with you. You may be questioned often as to where you've been. Where have you been? Why are you so late? You said you would be here at 7 o'clock. It's 7:02. Why are you late? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Because when 7 o'clock got there and they weren't there, that fear sets in. Where are they? Who are they with? Why aren't they with me? Where are they? Who are they seeing? All that stuff from the past comes into the present. Oh, yeah, her and I went through all this. Well, it's very familiar grounds. Okay? Where did you go? Where did you go? Who did you talk to when you were there? Was it a female cashier or a male cashier? Oh, did you talk to them after you made the merchandise? What did you talk about? Why did you look at them that way? You may hear this person ask you over and over and over, do you really love me? Do you really want to be with me? Are you sure? Why do you love me? Do you really love me? Why did you look back at that person? I saw you look back at him. I saw you as we drove by. I saw you look at that girl. They're insecure. Do you really need to go there? Why didn't you ask me to go with you? If you loved me, you would have asked me. You wouldn't have just assumed that I didn't want to go. Why didn't you include me? Why didn't you call? Well, I did call. I called at 8 o'clock. I know, but why didn't you call back at 10? Why didn't you call and say good night to me? What were you doing? Who were you with? What was so important that you couldn't call me? Looking for those defects. Well, you're getting ready to hang the phone up. Why are you hanging up? Huh? You don't want to talk to me anymore? Why'd you just take that deep sigh? Am I not enough for you? See, somebody here didn't do the questions beforehand, did they? And they're kind of stuck in a relationship now. Now, to break through a heart of stone, you don't want to engage in the argument. You want to take the fault, even though you may not be guilty. You want to ask to be forgiven for things that you haven't done. You're standing in the gap at this time for the person who caused this. Are you willing to take that sin that doesn't belong to you and ask them to forgive you? You've done absolutely nothing wrong to help them, their heart of stone, to mend, because it's their unforgiveness from the past that keeps us fresh. It's their unforgiveness from the past that keeps us open all the time, isn't it? So are you willing to ask to be forgiven for things that you didn't do? Are you willing to agree? You're right, sweetheart. I said I'd be home I said I'd be here at 7 and it's 7:02. I am so sorry. I know it feels just like I lied to you. I didn't mean to. Will you forgive me? Instead of defending yourself, you see? You're right. I did look over there and I saw that girl as we drove by. You're absolutely right. I didn't know that would hurt you. I didn't know that would offend you. And I'm going to try not to look at females as I'm driving down the road anymore. Will you forgive me for that? You see, showing that your intent is this relationship, not defending yourself, asking to be forgiven. When you really did nothing wrong, you just looked over there. It didn't mean anything to you. Put value of them feeling loved by you over the truth of the matter. Remember we taught that? Love takes priority over truth. The truth is they shouldn't feel that way. The truth is I didn't do nothing wrong. But you want them feeling loved above that. That's why you're willing to take this sin on you and ask to be forgiven for things that you didn't do. Be willing to change. You know, a lot of people say, well, you knew who I was when you got in a relationship with me. This is what you got. Especially men. That's not love. Love says it will give itself up for another. Be willing to give yourself up. Be guilty of things that you're not guilty of and ask for forgiveness and be willing to change. You know, if me driving down the road because that somebody lives over there and you don't want me to make sure I never ever see that person, that's okay. I'll find another route. I'm willing to sacrifice. I'll be willing to do whatever I need to do to sacrifice for you to know that I care about you, that I value you. I'm willing to give up my right to be right. I'm willing to give up my right to drive that direction. Whatever it takes. It's called sacrifice, isn't it? Reassure them that you will not leave them. Over and over and over. But if you say it, mean it. Okay? Mean it. I will not leave you. Now, you may have to qualify it unless you get physical with me, because they may. Okay? Remember, this is all fear-based. As long as you never hit me, I will not leave you. I want to hang right in here with you, and we'll work through this. But the stipulation is we go to counseling together to resolve it. Because if you don't, you might not ever get it resolved, right? Okay. Now, a person with a heart of stone is going to put you through tests. They want you to prove that you're going to hang in there. Now, look for the tests to get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger until you have proven to them by not arguing, by not fighting, by asking to be forgiven, that you're not going to leave. Okay? Now, if you're in a dating relationship, you may be gone. Because this applies more to people who are married, as you can see. Because if someone is like this in dating, unless you're really in love with them, you're probably not going to hang in here with them. All right? But if you've dated them and you're at this position, that means you didn't ask all these questions in the beginning, or you probably wouldn't have got this far with them. Okay? So it's very important that you ask these questions that we talked about in the dating process so that you don't get to this point with that person. Okay? But if you are in a relationship, that's your fiancé or you are married to them, then it's very important that you begin loving them through this and getting counseling. Ensure them that you're not going to go. Any questions on a person with a heart of stone, a person that has a fear of love? Any questions on that? Because you're going to run into them. If you look in the mirror, you just ran into one. To some extent. Okay? Any questions? Okay. That concludes this teaching for tonight. Thank you, guys.